welcome back to my channel. I am Maria and it's really nice to have you here for the ride. If you like what you see today, would you consider leaving me a like, subscribing, hitting the notification bell and leaving a comment to tell me what's going on in your life and your day. That would be amazing. Today I have got a collaboration that was done over on the YouTube collaborators group, which I will put the link down below. The lady running the collaboration today is called Amy. She is a mum to 4 boys. She is a homeschooler, and I believe this is an open collaboration. If you like the kind of things that we're talking about, then consider joining in. The more the merrier. Why not, I say. There will be a playlist below to the other ladies' channels. Please consider swinging by there and giving them some love as well. Amy's channel is called A Coat's Life, and no doubt she would love for you to drop in and say g'day. I'm a bit late to the party on this collaboration. A lot of the other ladies have already done it already. I believe it may have been supposed to have been out last week. Originally I was going to have it out for Tuesday, but then life happened. Today is the day. Today's collaboration is called dun 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 Why I Home Educate. I totally wasted drum roll. The first talking point that Amy has noted down here is what made me think about home education in the first place. I grew up in an unusual situation in that my parents were often in ministry in various ways. And for part of that ministry that they were in, they had gone to Bible college. And I had lived on a Bible college campus, in actual fact, 2 Bible college campuses. While I was there, I met some children and they had been missionary children and they had been home educated. There was just something about the life that I remember them talking about that just really drew me in. I thought that it was something that I would love to do. Mostly because I think that I had quite an enchanted childhood, in the sense, while I had a very different childhood and it was in no way kind of normal or average to what my friends knew growing up, it was quite enchanted. You know, we lived in a lovely rural, bushy, seafront location. I had access to horses, I had access to the ocean, I had access to the bushland. And I think that for me, the extension, what I sort of imagined what life would be like if I was home educated myself in that kind of environment, just really resonated with me. It would have just been a perfect place to, you know, to have been home educated. I mean, totally, you know, unrealistic in terms of where my parents were in life and what they were doing. When I then went on to university and trained as a primary school teacher, I did loads and loads of different practicals in loads of different schools. So I did them in Catholic schools and Christian schools. I did it in state schools. I did it in state schools that were in good areas and state schools in struggling areas. I went to a grammar school. I really sought after a varied experience of what education would be like. And when I was in the classroom, I saw that there was no perfect education system, that it did not matter where you were and what environment you were in. Kids somehow and everywhere slipped through the net. Not that I was expecting it to be perfect, but this was the awareness that was being created within my heart. When I had my own children, I also knew quite a few people that had home educated. There were some women around me in the church that I was attending at the time who had home educated, and I liked what I saw about their family life. And so all these things kind of mixed in together, my own memories of this family, seeing that there was no perfect education system that, you know, as far as I could tell, really encouraged me to feel comfortable that I could offer my children something that would be born out of love, born out of their interests, born out of wanting the very best for them educationally, but also as a parent. Did I have any home educating role models that I looked up to? Yeah, absolutely. There, as I said in the previous point, there were several women in my church I definitely sought out and went to for advice, and they were incredibly gracious to me in both answering my questions, putting my mind at ease, in just letting me sit at their feet really and drink cups of tea and watch their lives and talk to them about their lives. I am forever grateful for those women for taking the time to do that with me. Often when people are wanting to socialise in a home educating setting, they are wanting to do so for the sake of their children. Where in actual fact, the thing that most helped me as a mum in my earliest of days was actually sitting around and talking to women that were much further on in the journey. You know, their kids were nowhere near the age of my kids. So in terms of the time spent, I wasn't spending it socializing my kids in the traditional sense of the words in terms of playmates. We had other friends that we did that kind of thing with. Rather than seeking out just people that were in the same place as me, I sought out people that were much further on in the journey. Sometimes they were only a little bit further on, and sometimes they were much further on. They'd had kids get to high school age and things like that. And I think that that was the most beneficial thing that I have ever done as a home educator. Children will always make friends. You will always be able to seek out those type of people. But to find somebody that's willing to open their hearts and homes to you and share their journey is just a precious thing. And I think it's becoming a lost thing. Yes, thank you, ladies. Forever grateful. Was there an event that caused me to shift towards home educating? No, there wasn't, other than the birth of my firstborn. I can remember very, very clearly bringing him home from hospital and holding him in my arms. Now, whether it was the leftover drugs in my system from the cesarean birth, you know, quite traumatic cesarean birth that I had, whether, you know, we'd had pizza the night before, I don't know, but there was something going on within me, and I can remember holding this little baby in my arms. And all of a sudden being transported 20 years into the future and thinking, what kind of man would I like to raise? And how am I going to do that? And as I sort of saw that image in my head and worked back from that, I thought, you know what? I need to home educate. Like, this thing that I've kind of been playing with, this idea, is something that I need to do. And for me, it was mostly about the type of individuals I wanted to raise. So sort of looking through into the future, I wanted to raise children that were aware of themselves, weren't afraid to be themselves, were encouraged in their gifts and talents and uniqueness that was them, was equipped for life outside the home, not just academically, coming at life in age-appropriate ways. And I think from an employment perspective as well, had the potential to do something that not only enabled them to work for somebody else if they needed to, but also enabled them to start home businesses. I guess looking ahead, I just sort of saw the way that the world was going. And, you know, bearing in mind, like, my eldest is 24 tomorrow. So, you know, there's quite some years ago now. I was looking ahead at the world and thinking, you know what, we need to raise kids that are adaptable and are going to be the people that take on the jobs of 20 years from now. So I didn't want to just educate them with the idea of doing things that were around then. I guess I wanted to educate them with the mindset that they could do something, you know, totally new and unique and, you know, the entrepreneurial, brave, whatever the words were that you would use. They were the kinds of thoughts that I was having at the time. As it stands, that eldest son is now a shoutcaster in esports, and so a job that just was not around in any capacity 24 years ago is something that he is doing now. He is making his money being flown around the world to events, to cast video game competitions in much the same way that a sporting commentator would call a sporting match. And so that vision that I had for the future and that need that I felt, that compulsion to prepare my children for something, has actually come true. Now, whether that has been a self-fulfilling prophecy or whether that is something that was really truly laid upon my heart, I don't know. And I don't need to know the answer to that. All I know is that as I sat holding that baby and I saw that man and I said, these are the types of adults that I want to raise, and I worked back that for me and our family, home education was an integral part of that journey. Now, I am not a home educating evangelist. I am not, because I don't think that it is something that every family should do, because it doesn't work for every family. I think that you have to seek out the path that's right for your family and listen to that inner voice and listen to the wisdom that's being spoken to you. The last talking point that Amy has down here is Did I feel that home educating was the only way for my family, or it's paraphrased? Yes and no. So I certainly felt that it was the right thing for me to do. However, I have always been open to a change of plan. I do life like this, with this open-handed approach. I don't hold life like this anymore and holding tight to something. I do it like this. Yes, I did feel that was the path for us. No, I have never felt that it's the only way for us. I have always felt that if we were called to do something else, then the provision would be made mentally, physically, spiritually, in whatever capacity for us to be able to walk that path as well. Yes, no. Yes, no. Anyway, I've been Maria. I have rambled on for long enough. Go and check out some of the other ladies on the playlist below. They are beautiful people. We all come at things really differently. We come at faith differently. We come at home educating differently, or as they call it, homeschooling. We come at family differently. But I think that that's the beauty of these things, that we're not all the same, are we? And we shouldn't be all the same. We should be being authentic and unique and raising families that we are meant to raise in the way that's right for us. So I've been Maria. You've been awesome. Why don't you do the collaboration, and see ya on the weekend. Bye.